In May of 2025, North Korea launched the second ship in the Choe Hyon-class, the Kang Kon. This launch was met with great fanfare, with Kim Jong Un, his triple chin, his officials with all their shiny medals, and of course Dennis Rodman in attendance. Okay, Rodman wasn't there, but he was there in spirit, kinda like a force ghost. But the launch of the Kang Kong didn't go quite right. Its bow was lodged on the way out of the launchway, while the stern had already entered the water. This led to a partial capsizing of the 5,000-ton ship, which sustained considerable structural damage during the launch witnessed by Kim Jong Un, which one can assume old Kim Kim wasn't too pleased about. Subsequent satellite images confirmed that the destroyer, or that's what the North Koreans call it, was lying on its side under tarps while the emergency salvage operation began. According to reports, Kim Jong Un branded the disaster a criminal act, resulting from neglect. Obviously, those criminals would be brought to justice, and probably 3 generations of their family as well. But the remarkable thing is, in June of 2026, the Kang Kon conducted sea trials, and in today's video, we're going to cover the story of this ship. So in May 2026, I made a video covering the Choe Hyon-class and briefly discussed the Kang Kon because, quite frankly, I thought the whole thing was absurd. But you may recall I said this. Well, the Kang Kon certainly isn't in the spotlight, but it's surely preparing somewhere in the background, and I seriously do question where it is. Like a magical fairy to make me sound like a moron, Kim and his minions brought out the ship and put it on trials not long after I posted the video. Perhaps his rotundancy is out to get me. But anyway, if you want to see that video, here you go. To briefly summarize what we discussed in that video, the Choe Hyon is the lead ship of North Korea's new Choe Hyon-class guided missile destroyers, and I use that term very loosely. Launched in April 2025 at Nampo. It is reportedly around 5,000 tons, making it the largest and most advanced surface warship North Korea has produced. It's not a true peer to US, South Korean, Chinese, or Japanese destroyers, but it's a major leap for the Korean People's Navy because it gives North Korea a large missile-equipped surface platform tied to Kim Jong Un's broader naval and nuclear modernization push. The ship and the class as a whole matters because the Korean People's Navy has usually been a coastal defense and asymmetric force, patrol craft, missile boats, submarines and mines, and hit-and-run tactics, rather than a major blue water surface combatant. After the Soviet collapse, the Navy stagnated with mostly older Soviet and Chinese-derived equipment. Under Kim Jong Un, however, North Korea began trying to modernize the Navy around missiles, submarines, and sea-based nuclear delivery systems. The real TLDR is that the ships are frigates, they probably don't have as many missile launch cells as the North Koreans claim, and Kim Jong Un is morbidly obese with heart issues. So we can move on to the Kang Kon. The Kang Kon is the second ship in the Choe Hyon-class, like I mentioned before. It seems that there are a few differences between her and the lead ship of the class, particularly with the amount of missile launch cells having quite a bit less than the original claim of 88 for the Choe Hyon. Work on the Kang Kon progressed swiftly as she was laid down in May of 2024 and was ready to be launched by the following year. The Choe Hyon launched a great fanfare in April of 2025 at Nampo shipyard, with Kim and North Korean leaders attending the launch. A month later, the Kang Kon, the second ship of the class, was scheduled to launch. What happened next was one of the worst disasters in the modern history of the Korean People's Navy. The Kang Kon launched from the Chongjin shipyard in May 2025, and its bow lodged in the way out of the launchway, while the stern had already entered the water. This led to the partial capsizing of the 5,000-ton ship, which sustained considerable structural damage during the launch witnessed by Kim Jong Un. Subsequent satellite images confirmed that the destroyer, and again I use that term loosely, was lying on its side under tarps while the emergency salvage operation began. Kimmy claimed that this was a criminal act, and subsequently, military and dockyard personnel were arrested. Probably not a great thing for those people who were blamed. Even after suffering considerable damage and fearing flooding within its chambers, North Korea succeeded in getting the ship back afloat in just a few weeks. Following this catastrophe, one can assume Kim and his cool leather jacket weren't happy, and they were going to make those who were behind this criminal act pay. But I'm not here to criticize the Marshal of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and how he handles justice. But what I can tell you is he is a motivator of people, and if I can just for a moment give credit to the people of North Korea because they are an extremely hardworking people, because by June the 5th, they managed to right the ship, literally. Through a combination of barges, cables, and balloons, they got her upright. They did have to pump out the flooded compartments, but that's not an issue. I mean, come on, it's a modern warship. How much technology can be on board? To do all that work in such a short period of time, it's truly an impressive feat. After righting the ship, they moved it to another dry dock to repair the damage, with a particular emphasis on the side of the ship that hit the water first due to the structural damage there. Once again, like little miracle workers, the North Koreans had the ship ready to be launched again by June the 12th, and so it was. The destroyer launched with a little less ceremony than before, but George Bush would be proud of this mission. I wouldn't quite call this speedy recovery a triumph, nevertheless, it was still impressive. This is where things start to get interesting, as for a while the ship just sat there menacingly, not doing a thing. Well, besides being towed back to Chongjin port, but besides that, just sitting there. There was quite a bit of speculation about what was going to happen to the ship, and the actual amount of damage done to the structure and the electronics inside. Intelligence analysts monitoring satellite data noted that throughout late 2025, the ship remained entirely dark, surrounded by crane barges. It's likely during this time that teams of technicians had to manually gut and replace miles of internal electrical wiring, power generation switchboards, and hydraulic lines that had suffered severe brine corrosion. A lot of speculation, but it's not like I can go up to Kim and ask him what's going on with it. There was also talk about radar systems possibly delaying her further, as North Korea was probably trying to reverse engineer foreign tech. Still, I think it's more likely they were waiting on Russia or China to give them a little help. By March 2026, with the Choe Hyon conducting high-profile missile drills at sea, in which, by the way, you've been watching some of the tests, the Kang Kon sat motionless, with work slowly progressing on the ship. Again, some speculated that the hull was permanently warped, the keel was structurally compromised, or that the ship was incapable of maneuvering itself. As we now know, that isn't the case, obviously. The North Koreans probably had a hunch that the ship was still capable of performing its duties. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have added some unique missile launchers, most likely meant to deal with close-in threats like drones. Things came to a head in May of 2026, when the first signs of life began emerging. By mid-May of 2026, the first signs of exhaust and localized harbor movements confirmed that, like a phoenix, the Kang Kon was rising from the ashes of its watery grave. After having spent nearly a year sitting entirely dark and motionless at Chongjin berth, plagued by severe internal saltwater corrosion and system failures following her catastrophic 2025 launch accident, the pudgy frigate did a thing. North Korea state media broadcasted the highly stylized footage of Kim Jong Un and his daughter, Choe, boarding the ship to personally oversee her internal navigation and combat capability tests. Something we discussed in a little video I put out randomly about a 10,000-ton destroyer announcement Kim made during this time, and that this move seemed to be a calculated one, as the timing of this sudden maritime display was no coincidence. Staged just days on the eve of Chinese President Xi Jinping's high-stakes diplomatic visit to Pyongyang. The sea trials served as an international flex. Maybe it gave aura to Kim. Let me know, Gen Alpha kids, if I use that right. Signaling that North Korea's aggressive surface fleet modernization and blue water nuclear deterrent ambitions are officially back on track. What do you think of these vessels, and if North Korea's blue water naval ambitions are back on track? Because honestly, who knows? Let me know what you think down below. Again, take what I say in this video with a grain of salt. They're decent little patrol craft, but clearly the North Koreans intend them to play an active role more than just patrolling in whatever conflict they have in mind, specifically with their nuclear capabilities. I think their particulars are a bit overblown, and they probably don't have the capabilities they claim they have, but still decent ships overall. A bit of a different video, I know, and certainly I'm getting used to this new styling I've been trying for the past month and a half, but I'm willing to try new things. Hopefully you all found it entertaining. Please remember to like and subscribe, as it'll help the channel to grow. Until next time, my friends, have a great week.